We got breaking news into SportsCenter. Anthony Collins here with our NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski and front office insider Bobby Marks. Huge day in the NBA for several reasons, one of them being that we know what LeBron is doing for now. All right, James is not picking up his option with the Cavs, so he's becoming a free agent. Guys, I ask you this, what team truly has a shot now to get him?
Well, listen, certainly the Lakers are, if he's going to leave Cleveland, are a team he's giving great consideration to, and the possibility of returning to Cleveland still exists. He could re-sign on a short-term, long-term deal. The deal has become harder now, or getting LeBron becomes much harder now for the Houston Rockets, whose best chance would have been in a sign-and-trade agreement. They would have needed LeBron to opt into his deal and then work with Cleveland to find some pieces that they could have traded like they did with Chris Paul last year and the Clippers.
Well, you're right. And the signing trade for Houston now is challenging based on the hard cap restriction. The hard cap is $129 million. You have James Harden on a max contract. You have Chris Paul coming up on a likely max contract. How do you fit LeBron James under that $129 million? Plus Clint Capella, Trevor Ariza. Even if you did send out a contract like Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon, having all those numbers fit under that is basically unrealistic right now.
So Rockets unrealistic. Another team in the mix was also the 76ers. How do they stand in this now?
Well, they've got the cap space to go out and recruit him. They would have to move the Jared Bayless contract to get that off the books. He's owed $8.5 million in the last year of his contract. Now it's based on what is their sales pitch to LeBron James. How do they get their foot in the door to get in front of him?
What about the Cavs? I mean, they have the money. Any chance they do really get him back? What's your gut feeling?
Well, he has not been giving them really any direction in terms of roster, what he would like. He hasn't told them to go out, work on this trade. How about this player? And they've wanted to have those conversations with him. But James has been consistent. He said going into the postseason with them that he wasn't going to do it. He hasn't done it. So if he stays there, he may see a roster that looks a lot the same, because the Cavaliers, in a word that they're paralyzed right now, because they don't want to mortgage their future if he's walking out the door, but yet they want to improve the team. They're in a tough position. I think right now for him, if he returns to Cleveland, he's had chances here to help them improve the roster back to last year at this time when they could have had Paul George if he was willing to commit for a couple of years. He wasn't. They didn't do the Paul George trade.
Well, you're right. And there's pros and cons for all the teams we look at, from the Lakers to Cleveland to Philadelphia. This isn't the summer of 2016 where Kevin Durant was recruited by Golden State, and you can walk into that situation with the Lakers. That young core, is that good enough to get past a Golden State or a Houston? And who else can you bring with you? Cleveland, the same roster, a stagnant roster, but you add Colin Sexton. And then Philadelphia, where are you going to get some shooters to fill around? So every situation has its pros and cons.
And now the pressure is on in Los Angeles to try to find a trade with the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. Having Kawhi Leonard on that Lakers roster makes it, exponentially more appealing for a player like LeBron James to want to partner up with.
So Kawhi a huge factor now in all this?
He is, and as is Paul George. Paul George's free agency, they're in a position in LA where they can sign two max players. They're within striking distance on their salary cap to get money off and sign LeBron James and Paul George, or execute a trade. They have the assets to execute a trade for Kawhi Leonard. How much do the Lakers want to give up of their young players, of future draft picks, for a player that the Lakers hope that they could get in free agency next year? They had that question last year.
Welcome back to Free Agent Fever. Today, Cavs insider Joe Vardon tweeted this. He said, sources close to LeBron. He didn't text KD. And his going to the Lakers would not be sealed or doomed by whether or not they trade for Kawhi. Man, we'll all be better when this is over, one way or the other. All right, and now we bring in Joe from Cleveland. Joe, what do you believe? What's going on? Did LeBron text KD? Who was he texting? What's going on?
He was texting his travel agent for this wonderful vacation that they're on, where they're rock jumping and beautiful ocean view from the pool. I love it. So
Joe,
sure that's his reason.
We're all stressed out over where LeBron's going, and he's living his best life.
I know, man. That's, hey, listen, you play 104 games in a row, post your best numbers in 15 years, you deserve a break.
All right, well, you know, if LeBron decides that he wants to leave Cleveland, you talked in your article about how thoughtful LeBron should be in the delivery of that message. How delicate does that message need to be?
Yeah, Roz, I think that's a real point. You know, both I think LeBron and his advisors believe that everything he's done over the last 4 years has kind of bought his ticket to wherever he wants to go. And I think to a large degree that is true. However, it's not going to be seamless. And LeBron and Nike and, you know, LeBron's business partners, other business partners have been telling us for 4 years that LeBron is Cleveland, that he is Northeast Ohio. LeBron several times has said that he does not intend to leave again, that he will finish his career in Cleveland. And so if you say those things and you portray yourself in that way over a 4-year span, you're going to have to talk about it if you want to leave again. And you're going to have to explain it delicately, especially just because for as well as he's done in returning here, there is a history of this. We know 8 years ago when he left, it obviously didn't go well. And I think everybody's past that. Certainly LeBron is, and has certainly grown from that. But it's just, this may not be quite as easy and quite as seamless as we might have expected.
Right. I imagine it's twofold, right? LeBron and his thoughtfulness of the delivery of the message, and also fans being objective and understanding when he did come back to Cleveland, everything he's brought them and delivered, including that championship. Now, it's not just the fans who are in an interesting position. The Cavs franchise, executive staff, organization, they have to prepare just like the rest of us. They're waiting to hear what LeBron does. How do they prepare for either way if he decides to stay or go? Are they taking action in a good manner doing that so far?
Yeah, Roz, I think they are. They've certainly, to the degree that they can, they've put a plan in place and they've tried to execute it. They've tried to make some trades to be able to maneuver with the roster a little bit, but their salary cap situation is such that even if LeBron leaves as a free agent, they're still over the $101 million cap. And so they have a mid-level exception to the cap that they can use that's worth $5.3 million. And then they can do the veterans minimum, and they can sign Rodney Hood, who's a restricted free agent. And otherwise, they're talking about the draft with Colin Sexton and the 4 trades that they made on February 8th, where they brought in Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. and Hood and then even George Hill. That was where they made some of their biggest moves. And you know, the kind of the message that they're putting out there now is that they don't intend to fold up shop and start the rebuild if LeBron leaves. Now, you know, we have all summer to see that is indeed true, but that's what they're saying, that they want to, that you don't just tear it down, that you keep some of the guys that you have, most of the guys that you have, and try to even make the playoffs next year rather than, again, try to lose as many as possible.
All right, Joe, we appreciate your time and insight as we all wait to see what LeBron James does. So thank you so much, Joe Varden, Cleveland.com.